Masechta Chullin, Daf Samach Vav Amud Aleph. We're starting mamish from the top word. My kamifligate. We spoke about grasshoppers. Grasshoppers have 4 simanim. The 4 simanim are 4 feet, 4 wings, 2 jumpers, and the wings have to cover most of the body. Then we brought down psukim with 4 specific grasshoppers. One that is bald, one that has hair, one that has a tail, one that has a long head. So the Gemara want to know there's 2 braises. There's the first braisa, the braisa of Rav, and there's the braisa of Rabbi Yishmael. Teres Canaan was written by Rav. So we want to know what's the machlekes, where they arguing the Rav and Rabbi Yishmael. Zok Gemara, "V'may kamif the Tana the Veirav." In what is the Tana of Rabbi Yishmael? In what is the Tana of the first Baraisa that we learned on Samachay Amar Aleph, that which is Teres Canaan, which was it's the Sefer. It's called Sifra de Rav. So the Teres Canaan, it's called the Sefer of Rav, who learns out from Limineu. It says Limineu 1, and then 3 times Limineu. Arba, Limineo, Chargel, in Arba state Liminoi, and Chargel, Limineo, and so forth, the other 2 as well. To include 4 different types of additional types of grasshoppers that they're going to be toy. The Tana of the second Braisa.
Who eats these grasshoppers?
The Temanim eat it. There's a grasshopper that I was telling Bensi that today that is called, it's brought down in the Gemara in Shabbos. I wrote it down that if you eat it, it's tzipayra krumim. If you eat that grasshopper half, and then you learn, let's say, the whole shas, and you eat the second half, you'll remember the whole shas. It's impeccable for it takes away Alzheimer's. Trust me, it does the job. You got to find that grasshopper. The problem is if you forget to eat the second half, it causes more harm than benefit. Okay, anyway, the kids over here, we're talking about now, what about Rabbi Yishmael, who holds that from the Yitur in the Psukim, we learn a Chogov, which means a regular grasshopper, comes to exclude Tzartzur. A Tzartzur is like a cricket. It has all the simanim of a grasshopper. It has the 4 legs.
It makes noise.
Yeah, crickets make noise, but it's not a grasshopper. And the Solam comes to include, Solam is the one that has a tail. Solam does not have a tail. I'm sorry, it has the long head. It comes to include a long head. Solam doesn't have a tail, I'm sorry. But it comes to include the long head. Maybe Solam doesn't, but it comes to include a case of a long head. Okay, let's see. The Rav, the Braisa of Rav, the Teres Canaan, the Sifra of Rav, and Tanuvei Rabbi Yishmael are arguing with a long-headed grasshopper if it's going to be Torah or Tomei. Tana of Rav, the Tana of the Braisa, meaning the Teres Canaan, Saba that Yidash Nepsuk Mashal Loikra Ayim, that it has the 2 jumpers, those 2 big legs that helps it jump. That's a klal. Okay. Then you have Arba, Solam, Chargel, Chogov. These are the 4 names of grasshoppers. And then it says also the Minehu. That's a prat. He doesn't learn the Minehu is going to be a klal. The Minehu is part of the prat. So then the halacha is klal prat. Ein b'chlal elamash b'prat. It has to be exactly like the prat. And therefore,
what is the
prat? Is what?
The prat is Arba, V'Solam, V'Chagel, V'Chogov. Nothing talking about long-headed. Arba is a head full of hair. V'Solam is a bald one. V'Chagel is with a tail. And V'Chogov is a regular grasshopper. It doesn't have anything out of the ordinary. So only those. The Mineyin, the Laminei Loi. But something that's not part of this, so it's not going to be included. So you're not going to include.
Why do we need a klal prat to call?
No, it's only a klal prat. Ein lecha. Oh, klal prat or klal. Then it comes to include ke'ein haprat. If it's only klal prat, ein lecha bichlal elamasha befrat. Only the prat itself.
So what are you saying? Here's only a klal prat.
Only a klal prat. So only these minim, and whatever is not part of it is not going to be a tar, and you can't learn out one from the other.
So why do we need the call? If you just tell us the prat, that's it. We don't know anything else.
That's
Why-
what he's saying. The klal, there's a
Why do
general
you need
rule.
why do you need a call or a prat?
The cloud of the
Just
four pieces.
Just say these four. This is four. This is the only one that I'm with.
These
What do you
four,
make klal or prat?
because
Klal, the
no, the
klal is-
klal is
where's
telling you
Rashi
the
saying?
general simanim
The cloud.
of 4 feet,
Of the four.
of 4 wings, covers most of the goof, the jumpers. The prat is the arbor, the one that has a full head of hair, a bald one, a tail. Those are the pratim. But that's it. That's as far as it goes. Those are the ones that are. And we learn out that has to be from both zdadim. Side has to have the 4 simanim, and side that it has to have the similarities to these 4 grasshoppers. And these 4 grasshoppers don't have a long head. So so a min that has a long-headed grasshopper is going to be tummy. That's according to the Teis Kedim, according to the Veirav. Tell the Veirav Yishmael Sava, the Yeshiva Rabbi Shmuel holds Asher Lo Yikrayim, that it has these 2 jumpers. That's klal. Arba Solam Chagel Chagov. That's a prat. Lemineu, when it says Lemineu, Chazav Kolal. So then it's another klal. So when you have a klal or prat or klal, you have to do okay, not prat.
So we can include the one.
So
with
we
the long-
so
include the
how?
head. So we include the
Ma
head.
we called it double bichatzat, that even if it's only on one side that it has the 4 simanim, even though it doesn't have the similarities to the heads of the regular those grasshoppers that I mentioned in the prat, but if it's similar, it's going to be good tzad
Here also an orach is included.
Aruch is going to be included. So that's what it means. There's 2 tzadim. There's the tzad of the 4 simanim, and then there's the tzad of the grass, the looks of the grasshopper. The full head of hair, bald, tail, but there's nothing about a long-headed. But Keina Prat is going to tell us even a long-headed. From the word solemn that was extra,
The extra cloud.
that tells if it's not, you can't use
According to
it.
them, you could eat that.
The long-headed grasshopper, yes. Sagt die Yimad, how could you call this a klal prat or klal? The 2 klalim are not even similar. Klal, the first klal is talking about that it has jumpers. The islay, if it has jumpers, echel, the less lay techel. The first klal is talking about specifically 1 siman, that it has the 2 jumpers. This last klal is talking about all 4 simanim. They're not similar klolim. So how could you call it a klal or prat or klal?
Or
So
any klal
has to be the same, yes. So he says, Tan Rabbi Yishmael, we call you a prat, and he says, no, it doesn't have to be exactly the same. You can have different klolim, and you can still
put it together.
sandwich it as a klal or prat or
What is the
klal.
klal?
As long as it's a klal. And this too, we said in many other places, like Masech Zvachim, that we learned in the Beis Medrash, or from the Beis Medrash Rabbi Yishmael, that we deal with such klalim, even though the klalim are different. Where's the marker for it? From here. From this Beraisa, that's the marker that 2 klalim don't have to be exact in order to do the klal or prat or klal. From this Tanat Ved Rabbi Yishmael. Zak Yimar Rabbi Amar. At the end of the Beraisa it says, Ish mei chagav, if it has a name as a grasshopper, I would have thought it doesn't need all 4 simanim, 4 legs, of 4 wings.
As long as it's a
that's the name.
grasshopper.
As long as it has the name. Talmud Leimin Lemineu. The extra word Lemineu. Achehei by kol simanim alalu. It has to have all the 4 simanim. Zok the mother aim by kol simanim alalu. Mehechet teisei. From what do we know about Chlal?
No difference.
That even okay, so he says, you're saying that, how can we, he's asking, even if it didn't have this money atara, where would you come with such a thought to think that story? He said, because it's called Chagav, grasshopper, even though it didn't have a simon, I would have thought a story. Why? But where would I have such a Havamina?
Why not? It's a grasshopper.
Doesn't have the force simon? Why would I ever think that
That's
that
what
made
it's called
story?
grasshopper. That's it.
It says, in the Torah it says Arba and Mechagel. Abba is a full-headed one, and Chagel is a bald one, right? So,
Steve.
and you learn now from klal uprat to klal that it's elokei prat. So only the minim which are doimet ha'abe v'chargel. So why would I have thought even a min that doesn't have any of these simonim? Says Gemara, like siv salam k'degam. If the Torah wouldn't have written in if the Torah would have only written aber v'chagel and left out salam. Salam is the one with the tail. I would have said that you're not matayah only a min that's doima to aber v'chagel with this four simonim tara. Ahash nechsiv salam. It's coming to add its extra words. Salam with a tail. So he's coming to tell you.
Maybe Solomon's coming to tell you just the Solomon is extra.
So, but the Chagel also has a tail. So he says but it's bald. So you can learn out from one from the other, like we learned before.
As long as they're bald, it's okay.
No, they can be full-headed here also. So I would have thought Salam comes to tell us, just like it's coming to include a long-headed one, you could say, even though it's not similar to the other minim. So once you're already saying, even you're learning out from Solomon, even something that's not similar to the other minim, so you don't need you don't need that it should be similar to the four simanim ke'eina prat in that way. Maybe I would have said that even a min, which is only bebixus, has one siman that it's similar. I would have said that's enough to make it tar.
It's a grasshopper.
Kamash Malon comes to tell us, let me know, you need all four simonim. Again, Salam would have taught us that even though the Reishei Arach, the long-headed one, is not similar, it just has a similar. So in one side it's not similar, and you said it's good, it's tar. So I would have thought, maybe you can learn, it doesn't have to be mamish similar, you don't need all four simonim, one simon is good enough. That's why we need a liminaya to tell us that even though it has name Chagav, one siman is not going to be good enough. You need all four simanim. What's the difference? In one place you say Salam is a Rashain and Chagel is a Nipel. Okay, I think Chagel is the one. Let me go back. If I'm not mistaken.
Is something missing there?
No, I want to make sure. Abba is a full head of hair. Salam is the bald one, and Chargel is the one with the tail. Chargel is the tail, and Salam is the bald one, and Abba is the hairy one. So he says Salam is again one more time. Salam is the bald one, and Chargel is the tail one. But he calls it Salam Zerashim, Chagel Zanipo. Maishno De'amata, Salam Zanipo, Chagel Zerashim. One place you type Salam Rashain, and one place he's typed Salam Nipel.
A different name.
A different name, but they mean the same thing. He says in both places. Just
maybe this one comes from both. This comes from.
So he says it's two different places. Different places had different names. Called them different names, and it could have been the opposite names. But it's what it is the same.
They call it different.
Meaning, what Salam is bald. Chagel is a tail. But whatever the lashon, whether it's Rashain, Nipel or Rashain, makes no difference. Marki each one named it according to the place of where he lived. Uvedogim by fish. Kol sheyesh loy snape v'kaskesses. A fish.
So we finished with the
We already finished now with the grasshoppers. No more grasshoppers.
Okay.
We have to find that.
Which ones can we eat?
We can eat aber, chargel. You want to hear the looks of them? Aber, chargel.
You want to find them up?
Okay, so it says in the pasuk which four, and I told you what they look like. Aber, Salam, chargel, and chagov. But there are additional thoughts. He paid his kramim. That was learned in the Braisa of Rav. That's what he added these four. And I told you, if you want to look it up in Gemara Shabbos, Tziperis Kramim is a very special grasshopper, but you have to be careful. You have to make sure to eat the second half too. Okay. So Gemara Uvedogim.
After the shot is finished.
Yeah. Uvedog. Maybe it's a gula for Alzheimer's, not to get it. As the cups of sein start.
They just came out with certain food season that prevents it.
Zog Gemara Uvedogim. Kol sheyesh leisnape v'kaskesses. By fish. What is a turdic fish? If it has fins and scales. Tony Rabbanan, ein loy achshav. What's if it doesn't have right now the scales?
It's like a macro.
But for us, it's going to come out
No,
soon.
but also fish that you take out the water. the
Tuna loses the casqueses.
Tuna, the macros.
Also lose the. It's also going to be good. Now he's talking about the ones that when you take it out when it's young, it didn't develop yet. It's still the Torah the fish.
You know, several kinds.
So ein loy achshav. Right now, it doesn't have the scales while it's young, very small. Not small, but it's young. But the casqueses, the scales will come out. Kegoin hasultanis, b'ha'afyan. I don't know what the names are. Harei mutter. Those are mutter to eat, even though right now it doesn't have the scales.
So how do you know that's going to be good?
Because
They know.
they know
Yeah,
these
you have to
fish.
know, but you
You
yourself
see
have to know.
these fish when they grow, you know it has casqueses. So if you see another fish similar
See,
to that, adult, this same fish when it became adult, you see casqueses. So a similar fish, you already know the same thing. Yesh lo yasha. What's if it has right now? It's an adult, but when you take it out of the water, the whole scales fall down.
Okay, macro,
Like the tuna, he's going to say, Kigoin, akunas, vapunas, kaspatios, va'achsaftios, va'atunas. Atunas, he says beferish over here that it's tuna. The tuna, when you take it out, the scales fall off.
And macro doesn't say here.
Arei zemutter, mistama, amongst them is the micro too. I don't know which one.
Salmon is.
Arei zemutter.
Salmon comes regular.
Arei zemutter, that it's mutter, even if it doesn't have, when you pull out of the water, it doesn't have the scales, it's going to be good. Zog the Gemara Tnan Hasam. We learned in Masechta Nida Kol every fish sheyesh le kaskeses that it has scales yesh le snapper automatically it has fins. The yesh sheyesh le snapper those fish that have fins of ein le kaskeses it's shaykh that'll have fins but it won't have scales.
A lot of fish.
Yesh le kaskeses yesh le snapper but if it has scales it automatically has fins. And that's a dog toy. That's a toy like a dog, a toy like a fish. Yesh le snapper vein like kaskeses. But what's if the fish has fins and it doesn't have scales? Dog tame. It's a dog that's fish that's tame.
Why? Because the fish needs the fins to swim.
Fins against the tide.
So that's not a sign. That's not a.
It's one of the simona of tada, but you need kaskeses also.
No,
But
I'm
it
saying
doesn't
every fish
necessarily mean that it'll have
needs the fins.
kaskeses.
Otherwise, it can't swim.
No, you have fish without fins, sure.
That they can swim without.
Yeah.
Sure. It's like a
The-
protection.
How do they swim?
Eels don't have fins.
He brings down, you'll soon see. Okay, let's look into this. We said if a fish has scales, it's all right because it has for sure fins. Says you want to look at kaskeses, but look at snapper as a simon, as a toy the fish, sharp kaskeses, and automatically it has fins. You know what do you have to ride? Snapper. So you want to kaskeses. If the Torah would have only written scales, veloy kasav snapper, and he wouldn't write fins, Hava Amina, I would have said, my kaskeses. What does scales mean? No, it doesn't mean scales, kaskeses, snapper. It means fins.
Snapper is fins.
Right, so I would have thought the kaskeses made the same meaning. There wouldn't be the word snapper, so I would say the chatchila means fins. And we would have made a mistake. Vafilu dog tummy. And I would have been mata, even a dog that's tummy. That's why Kasach Achman is snapper the kaskeses. Then I had to write both. That one of them has to mean
Shouldn't
fins.
be a mistake.
Shouldn't make a mistake. One has to be fins and one has to be scales. In fact, you might, okay, I hear you. But I have a problem here. Mahashta the Kasach Achman is snapper the kaskeses. How do you know that the kaskeses, levushu? How do you know the scales is the garment that goes over the skin of the fish? Maybe it's the fins. You said you don't know. You don't know. So no, we know. The chsiv.
Oh, well, one could be the fin because Nathan gives it.
We don't know which one it is. How do you know kaskeses means the scales?
Maybe it means fins.
Maybe it means fins.
Snapper means what?
Scales, or maybe it means something else. Who knows? So you wanted to see because it says in the Torah, it says in Shmuel Benegay to Goliath. Goliath is the big guy who went and fought against Klal Yisrael. David HaMelech used a slingshot and killed him. So what was he wearing? It says Vesiriyain Kaskaschim Ulovush. He wore armor of scales. That's what he was wearing. So you know that it means scales. So I says, so you know kaskesses means scales. This is why to take the kasha. V'lichte v'achmona kaskesses. V'loy lichte snapper. Let the Torah write just scales, kaskesses. And we would never think it's snapper. We could have a raya from a pasuk from Goliath that it could only mean scales. So don't write snapper.
The mailer has the fins.
And the mailer has fins. What do you have to write about fins? The reason why he wrote it is to lengthen the Torah. So Allah was going, which we don't need. Yagel Torah. What's
every word.
Blah 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 blah. It's about Yagel Torah Yada. We can't just bolden. You have to. The sign up is was hot teichen. So the Rishonim say that first of all we want to make it clear that you need both, and even more so because this is it's a chelik from the Tashno Simonim. This is the Tara that it could go against the tide. The fins, it has to be able to go against the tide. That's part of the Simoni Tara. We have to mention it to let you know that's a chelik from the Simonim for Tara. This is two things, scales and fins. Fins is part of the inyan of Tara that has to be able to go against the tide. Okay, that's what the Rishonim write. Look, let me just tell you the pasuk. It says it says already. It says this is what you should eat. Anything that has fins that scales. Kol asher lo yisnaper b'kaskesses b'mayim and water. What kind of water? Bayamim in the seas, uvanecholim in the rivers. Oisem tachila. Then it says again, there you shall eat. In fact, why do you have to say lechatchila ezeh toichlu? He finishes everything and he says, what do you have to start off with? Then you learn, eat what that has snap of a kaskesses. So I can learn out. I could automatically learn.
If you don't have.
If you don't have, you're not allowed to eat. And then from this that it says whatever doesn't have. The two simonim al teichel you shouldn't eat. So v'lama shonon hakosu. I made a mistake. This is the first kasha. Why did he have to learn sai azet teichlu and al teichlu? What do you have to learn? Two. It says in the first pasuk ezet toichlu. So you know which one do you have to eat? Dafke snapper bekaskesses, fins and scale. And if it doesn't have it, it's tummy, or you're not allowed to eat it. And then it says another pasuk, bechol asher ein loy. What do you have to say? Bechol asher ein loy. So bechol asher ein loy. I know. Say that pasuk alone. Anything that doesn't have snapper bekaskesses. So, but if it has no, so what do you need both? Lama Shonon, why did the pasuk write both? So if you want to lama say the loisas to tell you v'chol asher ein lois snaper kaskesses, that's telling you the loisas say, and he also is telling you the say ezet toichlu kol asher loi snaper kaskesses. One is kol asher ein loi and kol asher loi, to tell you that if you eat something that doesn't have fins and scales, you over on hasei and a lois hasei. Okay.
You would know it?
If he wouldn't say both, I would say it's only he was over on hasei or a lois hasei, whichever one you would say. It's even for both. The hemshech of the Braisa goes like this. Here goes the kash that I originally said. It says toichel mikol asher b'mayim in the beginning, and then it says oisn techelu on the end. Ma tamad leima. What do you have to say? Toichlu. You already finished off the pasuk by saying oisam teichelu. What stops the finding the pasuk with azet teichlu? If that same pasuk finishes off oisam teichelu,
only the kosher one, yeah.
Here it says azet teichelu mikol asher b'mayim, kol asher loy snav kaskes b'mayim b'yam ma'acholu, and then he ends off oisam teichelu. Oisam teichelu. Okay, why do you have to say azet teichelu? So the Yemada ma tamad leima. What is the azet teichelu coming to teach us? I would have said, since from these psukim we learn out a special heta for eating such shratzim in the water that don't have a snap of kaskesses. So, lamashal, we eat drink water from the reservoir. So we have to know if you're allowed to eat it. Maybe if it doesn't have fins and scale, maybe because it has these shratzim lach. Maybe you're not allowed to eat it.
To drink the water.
They drink that water, right? So he's saying this shedet. So he's come to tell us if it's in a keli, you're allowed to drink it, even though it doesn't have snap of kaskeses. Oh, so this is from the psukim. We're soon going to learn. There's a beferish pasuk that tells you that you're allowed to drink. I mean, even these shratzim that don't have snap of kaskeses. It says, and then you have one that you learn now from the hidden part of the Torah, from a deal. So here, mashahit b'mefurish lohit el b'kelim. This that kishahit b'mefurish lohit el b'kelim. This that were mat b'mefurish are shratzim that are created from the water that are in the kelim. Today it doesn't exist. I mean, it was at the time, but today.
The water.
Maybe you don't have to check if you're taking water out of the
Kelim. A river, no. A river is different.
The tayak, whatever, the well. You don't have to check.
Maybe. After hit the stomach could be. So too the hit the stomach like hit el kelim. Okay? And
So if you drink water from the river, is it a shaila?
it's a shaila. Like hit el kelim. What kind of river? Like the shots magdin by yamim by necholim or by mayim achim anug min akarka. Those like hit el kelim. But if it's from sea water, rivers, you're not allowed to drink from there. So from where do we know to be marbe a pit or ditches or caves that a person swims and drinks there, and there that there you're allowed to eat the shratzim. To teach us from the extra word that even the shratzim that are in the waters of Beiris, Shichnomaris, you could also eat, even though it doesn't have fins and scales. Fins and scales. No.
So where does it have to be in a kelim?
Only if it's moving water. But like a bird or a ditch or an amida where it's sitting like a pool of water, that's mutter.
Without a kelim?
Without a kelim, yeah. In fact, where do we find that the Torah was mata bekelim in a vessel? It says in the pasuk, "Ezer teichon lekol asher b'mayim, kol asher lo yisnap v'kasketz b'mayim, b'yamim u'v'necholim ha'istechelo." That's the end of the pasuk. From the words b'yamim u'v'necholim, right? Who the chi islay, if it has fins and scales, echol you're allowed to eat. The lesle, but if there isn't fins and scales in the shratzim that are in the seas and the rivers, lo yiseichel, you're not allowed to eat it. Oh, bekelim. Afagav, the lesle, even though there isn't the simanim of fins and scales, echol you're allowed to eat. So who says so? Eima faket bekelim afagav the islay. Maybe he wants to say by kelim the other way. He says even if it has fins and scales, but if it's not keli, loy techel, you shouldn't be. He wants to say not keli is worse. Why should I say even there you shouldn't eat? I don't have the reason for it, but he says maybe the deer goes that way. Because that was created from water. Something that's created from water, I'm just going to give you a balabatch smother. Something that's created from water, you're not allowed to have, even if it has fins and scales. It has to do through Kriya.
Natural.
Through natural. I think maybe he says over here. Here, let me see. Here he says, Torah the kafish are not created from themselves, from the Maim Shabbat Kalim. So those I would say, it seems like that's the svara. Okay. Something that's born the natural way, you're allowed to eat if it has fins and scales. But something that's created from the water in a kli, even if it has fins and scales.
It's created from eggs, yes.
It says it's created from water. I don't know that it exists today.
How is fish created?
It's created from eggs. Fish has eggs. We learned already in the previous in Gemara that tardik fish, they are it's laying like an egg turret, that it's wide on one side and narrow on the other side. That's how it's sitting, the egg.
What is caviar? Is it caviar eggs and fish?
It could be, yeah.
No, you don't
So, I don't know. says you want it shouldn't enter your
Did you
mind.
see a fish with eggs?
See, huh?
Did you see a fish with eggs?
Okay.
Carp has plenty of eggs.
Carp, yeah, that's right. Right. It's not such a
Whitefish has eggs.
carp is like steak fish. It's a heavy piece
Carp
of.
has whitefish has pike has they have eggs.
Oh wow! So you want to talk like you shouldn't think that the miut is that even if it has fins and scales in that keli you're not allowed to eat. Don't think it's impossible. We don't. That's not the pshat. The chsiv, why not? Because in the pasuk later on it says v'chol asher ein lo yisnape v'kaskeses. Any fish that doesn't have fins and scales, bayamim uvanecholim, in the seas and in the rivers, mikol sheretz b'mayim. So it says, if it doesn't have, mipsam lo yisechel, you shouldn't eat from that. So what is here? He says befedish, part of the he says dafke, if it's bayamim uvanecholim, if it's sea or river. But so bayamim uvanecholim, the less leiloi techol. Only where's the Isay if it doesn't have fins and scales? Only if it's the Yam, the sea, or if it's the river. Kelim, it's mashma, that if it didn't have fins and scales in the Keli, Afagav the less layachol, the dig would be that you could eat.
What about lakes? In the lake?
So that lake is like a pond. No,
So that's okay.
That's okay, yeah. Pools, yeah. So he says, that's what he's. So you couldn't say that even in Kalim, if it doesn't have fins and scales, if it had fins and scales, you wouldn't be allowed to eat it. Because look at the reverse, how the pasuk says, if it doesn't have fins and scales, the only time you cannot eat it if it's in rivers or in the sea, in the big sea. But if it be in a keli, you could eat it. So you can't say that if it had fins and scales, you wouldn't be able to eat it. Okay, thank you. Why don't we dash in the pasuk? Ba'moyim, like we should say, is a klal, which is kailal all kinds of water. That any kind of water, you need fins and scales. Then comes the prat. No, bayamim uvanacholim. The prat is only where do you need to have fins and scales? In the sea and in the rivers. That's a prat. And we'll say klal prat, ein ma klal, ala mashme prat. So the davke for yamim unacholim. There you need the fins and the scales. Yamim u'necholanim. Only that we should be medayik. Only if it's sea water or river water. That's where you need the fins and scales. But neitzin, canals, or vacharitzin, and ponds, which is maybe similar, they have water loy. I would say that it doesn't need fins and scales.
So what, a different kind of fish there in the ponds?
No, it's a fish.
But
The rivers is one kind of fish, and here is a different kind of fish.
he doesn't speak about it. It's different fish.
It could be
He
same
says the
kind of fish.
waters. It's different waters. It's not like seawater or river water. So if it's seawater or river water, you need to have the fins and the scales. But if it's just ponds and canals, you don't need it. So the Gemara is saying we should learn. So why don't we dash in the pasuk as zeh toich mikol Hashem hamayim as a klal, and bayam necholim as a prat, and learn out kol prat ein v'chal ela mashem b'prat, that only yam necholim needs skins and fins and scales.
He says we don't learn that way.
And for the Gemara, when the pasuk says b'mayim a second time, it says kol asher loy snap v'kaskeses. It says again b'mayim chaz v'kolol. So you have a second klal, klal prat klal. So you can learn out anything that's ke'ena prat. So even something similar.
So what's Cain?
What's ke'ena prat?
Prat you said is what? Is any fish that doesn't have fins and
The
scales?
prat is bayam v'necholim. No, b'mayim u'v'necholim is the prat. Kol asher lo yisnapu kaskeses b'mayim. That's the klal. You need fins and scales in any waters. Then it says no, only in the sea and the rivers. Says the Gemara. So I would say nitzin charitzin. So
What's the second klal?
the cloud tells you what's v'chol asher lo yisnapu kaskeses b'mayim is a second cloud that anything came up prat has to have fins and scales. So then nitzin charitzin, ponds and canals have water moving there, so you wouldn't be able to
Maybe it's
eat it
similar
on.
to
It's similar to yamim and necholim. and you would not be able to eat it unless it has fins and scales. Zakti Gemara, how could you learn these as a klal u'prat klal? Hani trei klalim desmichel adadinino. These klalim are right next to each other, and then goes the prat of bayam menacholin. So how could you learn it as a klal u'prat klal? It says the two klalim first, and then it says bayam menacholin the prat. How's the pasuk go? Kol asher loy snap v'kaskeses b'mayim. Okay. First, Azeh toichel mikol asher b'mayim, one klal. Kol asher loy snap v'kaskeses b'mayim, a second klal. And then it says the prat b'yamul v'necholim. It says the two klalim first, and then goes the prat. And the one Avina said kedam ma'amad of like we say in Eretz Yisrael, kol makom shata moitze shnei klolos asum kazalazeh. Wherever you find two klolos which are next to each other, and the prat it says after hatal prat b'neiim, put the prat between the klolim. Ve'dunim echlolu prat u'klol, and be done as it like a klal u'prat u'klal. B'mayim klol. Yeah, then it's kena prat. That means neitzin, and the neitzin, mecharitzin, the ponds and the canals will have a din that you need fins and scales. B'mayim klal, b'yam necholim prat, b'mayim chazer klal, klal u'prat u'klal iyatadan elokena prat. Maha prat, just like the prat by b'yam necholim, mefoidesh mayim neivim. They are moving water. The water is moving. Afkol mayim neivim. My Rabbi, what are you including? That needs fins and scales. Charitzin uneitzin liisur, canals and ponds. That it's going to be asur unless it has fins and scales. Or my miut. And what did he exclude that you don't need fins and scales? Boiris, the vas is its name plots. The water is not running. Shichin or a ditch. Or in the water in a pool in a cave. That's going to be mutter. In fact, you want to say mahaprat by yam necholim mefeidesh.
How come the fish go to places?
To these places, maybe somebody dropped it off, and it
tank.
had more fish, like a fish tank. Yeah. In fact, you want to say mahaprat mefeidesh mayim gedelim al gabe karka. Afko mayim gedelim al gabe karka. Maybe he's come to tell you any water that's on the ground. Umar Rabbi, and what did he include? Because say it's water on earth. Water on earth. Water on earth also. My miyat kalim. And what are we going to exclude from the klal u'prat klal? All the kalim will be mutter if it doesn't have fins and scales. In fact, if that's what he's coming to only include that kalim are mutter without fins and scales. What do I need as that teichel? I have the klal u'prat klal, the b'mayim, and bayam marchalim. What do I need for it to be mate kalim? What do I need as that teichel? Obviously, all the other things would be us, and the only thing we would include would be kalim. So obviously, no. He's only excluding these things that are running water. But Bayra Shechina Maidis is mutter. And how do we know kalim from Azeh Teichlo? The extra words of Azeh Teichlo.
That's why I have the teichlo.
That's why we have the extra word Azeh Teichlo to tell us that by kalim, even if it doesn't have fins as kalim, it's going to be mutter.